One of the key things that controls the emotions of a human being or any living thing at all is music. As abstract as it sounds, the trees move to the rhythm of the bird singing because even God himself responds to music. Hi guys, welcome again to our YouTube channel. On today's class, we're going to be talking about emotional intelligence 2. Yes. So, welcome to the class. How are you feeling? Just talk. Just talk.
Very well, thank you.
Very well is not an answer.
I'm feeling very well.
Very well is not an answer. I need more details. How are you feeling? More details.
Okay, I'm feeling good, excited about the class.
Okay.
Yes, I look forward to getting to know more about emotional intelligence.
Okay. What has been your favorite class since?
I think it should be how to be able to control your emotions.
So it's emotional intelligence.
Yes,
That's been your favorite
yes.
class. What about you?
You can't choose one.
Can't choose one. Okay. Alright. You can't see their faces, but they're here. There's Ifoma here to my right, and then there's Jesto for me to my left. So yeah, I'm going to be answering the question. Yeah. And so the question, the last assignment I gave you guys was, if a food vendor got a bad review of their product or their food online, a customer had a bad experience, maybe with a staff, someone from the organization, and then the person went online to vent and just talk about how bad of a service they got from the organization. You as a business owner, what would you do? Do you understand? So that was one of the questions that we asked. And then the second question was, if you were shooting a wedding as a photographer and the bride was angry because the groom made her angry, in that situation, you need to get your very good pictures and you need to deliver for the couple. So what would you do as a photographer to turn that situation around and still deliver value to your client? Yes, so we're going to start from the first question and then we'll delve right into emotional intelligence 2. The first question, if you got a bad review, first of all, I was very pleased with the answers you guys gave. So I think this stuff was like, she was going to make a comment underneath her comment, and then she was going to, maybe if she commented on maybe an Instagram post of the company, she's going to go under the comments and she's going to apologize publicly, and afterwards she's going to offer her a free meal or a discount on a meal. And then you also aligned also in that aspect, but you said that instead of going publicly to apologize, that you will go the private route and then reach out to them and then offer them maybe a discount or a free meal or something, to just compensate for that. So I think those answers were very beautiful. But one thing I actually want you to know is that emotional intelligence is not only towards the client. Emotional intelligence is also directed at yourself and the people in your organization. Do you understand my point? So when we talk about emotional intelligence now, I don't want you to view emotional intelligence as just a tool for you to relate to clients or a tool for you to relate to people who come to do business with you guys. Do you understand? Emotional intelligence is actually a way to relate to any human. Remember we mentioned that when we're describing emotional intelligence. Take for instance, you want to relate to any human now. So when I say any human, any object, anything per se, anything that you're doing business with, anyone that you're doing business with, whether an organization, you have to be emotionally intelligent towards them. You have to be emotionally intelligent towards your staff. Remember we mentioned the staff factor the last time. If your staffs are not happy, your customers won't be happy because they won't give a good service to your customers. Do you understand? So now, those answers were very beautiful. If I were to answer that question, what I would do is same thing as just Sofumi said. First of all, the person reached out publicly. The person had the option of reaching out privately, but they chose to go a public route. So now, where emotional intelligence actually comes into play now is that you as a business, you have to look at it from two sides of the divide. The person reached out online when they had the opportunity to reach out privately to you. So now, and sending their complaints to you, but not just their complaints, they also now have put your company in the bad light. What you're doing now is two things, yeah? So now you're trying to meet the client at a midpoint and then apologize and then try to salvage the whole situation. But then something you're also trying to do, you're also trying to do a damage control to your brand online. Do you understand? So you're not just trying to just manage the client. That's not what you're trying to manage, because the moment anything goes online, it therefore means that a lot of people, more than that client now, more people are more invested in that particular topic, and more people would want to know how the company is going to handle that. So the first thing that as a business owner that you should know is that once you get a bad review, that is not the point where you flare up and then maybe you start like being angry, or maybe you start like maybe insulting them. Oh, this person even came, we gave the person a discount, and the person is, no, that's not the time for you to actually do that. So instead of that, what you should do, instead of even reaching out privately, because you can reach out to them privately and then get everything sorted, but everyone that is invested online will still have the last thought that they have about the organization was the bad review they saw. I don't know whether you understand my point. So now what you're able to do now is that you're able to salvage that whole situation, and then you're able to just bring like balance to the client. So basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to salvage the situation. So you're trying to meet both the clients and the public on a middle ground and then settle everybody as a business owner. If you reach out privately and then you settle with the clients, and the public, the last knowledge they have about the company is the knowledge of the bad review that the company received. Do you understand? So now, in doing that, now in sending the message online, first of all, I hope you know it takes a lot and a great deal of strength for you to actually apologize in any kind of relationship at all. Do you understand? In relating to anybody, the fact that only strong people say sorry. Do you understand? If you know how hard it is for maybe 90% of people to say sorry, you will know that it is only the strong that actually say sorry. Do you understand? So for you to actually go online and make a proper apology, do you understand? Make a proper statement. And when I'm saying a proper statement now, you are putting into consideration every single word that you put out. Do you understand? So now you're saying that, okay, we apologize for this. Make it heartfelt. Do you understand? Don't go to any AI to type that particular comment for you. Your clients want to know that you care about them and you're not chasing after their money. Do you understand? So you have to first balance that. And then in sending that apology, you also have to put it into consideration that you don't have to seem weak as a business. So now when I'm saying you have to go and apologize, maybe you have to make a public statement and then respond to the comments. Do you understand? So now you also don't have to sound weak. When I say sound weak, you don't have to beg. You know, there's a difference between apologizing and begging. Do you understand? There's a thin line separating both, but you know, when you're begging now, it's like you're soliciting for them for their forgiveness. But when you're apologizing now, you're admitting wrong, and then you are trying to fix the situation without sounding weak. Do you understand? So if somebody goes under that comment now and types, "Oh, I'm so sorry for the review you got and for the bad service that you got when you came into our restaurant, and we hope to make this up to you with your next order, or we hope to send you another order to do something." You know, it's a different statement from if you're now saying, "Oh, please, oh, we are sorry, oh, please forgive us." Find a place in your heart to forgive us. I don't know whether you understand. That is not professional. That is you begging. Like you're basically begging. Do you understand? We hope you will still patronize us. Do you understand? It just makes you seem weak, and it makes you lose that confidence in your brand, because now you are operating from the point where you know that your business is the value. People will pay that premium to get that value that you're giving. I don't know whether you understand my point. So now, if you now switch around, instead of apologizing and then you start begging, what you're doing now is that you're bringing that value lower and lower and lower. Do you understand? If you were to have 10 reviews now, would you go begging all 10 clients? Take for instance, telecoms company. Sometimes it might just malfunction, and then you'll see different people tagging them, "Oh, the network is bad, we can't have network." Do you understand? So you don't go about begging. Take for instance, MTN is very good at that. So they'll just say, "Oh, we're so sorry for the troubles you're experiencing. Our team is working hard to restore back the service to, do you understand? So they first admit wrong, and then they now like try to salvage the situation, and then make you know that they are on top of the situation. Do you understand? Instead of you saying, oh, we're so sorry, please don't stop using our network. You know, if you don't use our network anymore, won't be. Some people go as far as saying and telling their clients that won't be complete without you. And if you look at it very well, either you don't know the value of your business, or maybe your business doesn't have value or something. Do you understand? Because I don't think even without the CEO, a well-structured business will run. Do you understand? I don't want to say talk less, but talk more of a client. Now, when you have finished sending that particular message and then you have salvaged the whole situation, now anyone that goes on that post and sees that bad review, first of all, now they will first know that this person went there and had a bad review. The second thing that the second knowledge now, what lasts long in the minds of a person is the last thing that he heard. Do you understand? So now, if I asked you what I said 10 minutes ago, you may not remember. But if I asked you what I said a minute ago, you would remember. Do you understand my point? So in doing that, one thing you should know now is that the public now is actually having like a second or a last knowledge about the brand. Do you get my point? And the impression that they will have is that, okay, they got a bad review, that is fine. But then the company took responsibility, responded publicly, did not ignore the clients, and then was able to offer a compensation for the bad service gotten. So the day I go to this particular restaurant and I get a bad service and I complain, I will also get the same treatment. I hope you know that is fully you have settled that situation. Do you understand? And then I want to also highlight something that she said. Both of you said that, okay, we're going to send her a free meal and then we're going to give her a discount on. I hope you know that there's a certain way you will go to that, and then you become over generous, and then you do too much. Do you understand? Already know that particular free meal is already costing you some revenue in your business. So now what you should do now is that don't try to beg by giving too much. Apologize and fix the situation, but know the limit. So if a free meal is what you want to give, a free meal should be what you would give. If a discount on a meal is and both are not wrong actually. Because I, for one, I don't believe giving free stuff would make you any more valuable. Because the more free stuff you give out is the more people feel like that product is ordinary. That means I could have gotten it for free. And that is the more reason why somebody else is going to come and then complain, even if the food is good, just to get a free meal. Do you understand my point? So that is what you should do. All you just keep doing is you keep receiving bad reviews, keep apologizing, and then you keep giving out free meals and losing out on revenue. So for every time that you have a bad review, make sure to find out what happened inside. It's first the you factor. In fact, I feel like the organization factor or the factor inside the organization should be treated first before the client. That is not to say that you shouldn't give prompt response now. So respond to the clients as promptly as possible, but then try as much as possible to fix that problem immediately. If not, all you will have is bad reviews. And I hope you know that apology without changing is you're just telling the public that you're not reliable in business. So I think we've answered that question. So if you have that particular problem in business, this is how you should actually address that particular problem. Can we move forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, the next question. If you were a photographer and the groom on their wedding day made the bride angry, what would you do? I feel like you both gave a really good answer, which is, first of all, meet the groom. Because men, in the way men are wired, men are wired not to overthink so much about stuff. Do you understand? You could easily meet with the groom and then have a conversation with the groom as to how to salvage the whole situation. And then one of the common mistakes that a lot of photographers have is they try to be the good guy. So now, in being the good guy, what do they do? In being the good guy, they try to speak to the bride on behalf of the groom. But one thing you should know is that you are not the groom. One thing you should know as a photographer is you are not the star of the show. Many photographers miss this. You are not the star of the show. You are just one piece of the puzzle. Do you understand? With or without you, that union would happen. Do you get what I'm saying? The weight of a wedding day and marriage vow exchange is very high. Like, it is very weighty. So there's a lot that is in play. So you don't have to look at yourself or overestimate yourself in the matter or in the situation as it is. Do you understand what I mean? So now, when you have that particular situation, first of all, you're not the star of the show, you're not the person. So the first thing to do is to actually step back from that situation. That is the first thing you should do, right? The first thing you should do is step back from that situation. And I will explain, and then you write. So, in stepping back from that situation now, what I mean by stepping out or stepping back from that situation now, does that mean that you don't care as a photographer? No, it means you care, but it also means that you are emotionally intelligent enough to let the couple have a time to themselves. In as much as your pictures are very important here, just by you trying to get in the middle of something at the wrong time. Timing is very important. Timing is key. In any relationship at all, whether as in a corporate relationship, whether in friendship, whether in marriage, whatever, it is possible to say the right thing at the wrong time and get the wrong response. Do you understand? So because you meant it for good, and you had all the right motives behind what you said. But the truth about the matter now is that for whoever is on the receiving end, you cannot fully tell how they will receive. I hope you know, you are in charge of how you talk, but how it is received, you are not in charge of that. Do you understand my point? So it is very important for you as a wedding photographer, or as a photographer generally, or as a business person, when you notice delicate emotions at work, try as much as possible to step back. The reason why you're stepping back is because you're trying to have a better view of the whole situation. Now, let me ask a follow-up question. What if the bride is angry that the groom did what he did not do, and the groom did not actually do that? And the groom himself is pissed that the bride is accusing him of doing what he did not do. Do you get my point? So at this particular juncture, you discover that the bride, the groom, both their emotions are already like there's something that is going on, and it's a very delicate period that you cannot interfere just anyhow. So the first thing I always advise to do, step back and try to watch things play. So in stepping back, I'm not saying that you should use your whole time as a wedding photographer to actually step back. Now you can sacrifice 5 minutes. Do you understand? You can sacrifice 10 minutes for them to kind of like get their stuff together. And if it's not now working, or if you're saying that these two people, they are not planning on meeting each other in the middle or just talking at all, do you understand? That is when you now start working as a wedding photographer that is emotionally intelligent, or as a business owner that is emotionally intelligent. I hope you know that you're going to encounter this problem not only as a photographer, not only as a wedding photographer, but even as maybe a family photographer. Take for instance, you go and you want to shoot a man and a wife, and then they just had an issue. You go into a board meeting, and then the two people that are actually meant to make the decision for you to land that deal, they're having a misunderstanding. And you need both this signature and this signature to land that deal. What would you do? Do you understand? So I'm trying to paint all of these scenarios so that you know that this doesn't just play out in just the world of wedding photography. It also plays out in every facets of life. Do you understand? So it is very good for you to actually step back. And then another reason why you're letting them step back again is like you're letting them time. Yeah, time makes stuff less hurtful with time. Do you understand? A lot of people say time heals. Actually, it might not heal completely, but it will heal to a certain level. So it is important for you to actually just give that little pocket of time for them to have that period to kind of like reflect and just look at. You will discover that 9 out of 10 times, that particular, you giving them that free space instead of rushing right, okay, let's take the pictures now. We're ready to take the pictures and everything. Oh, you have to shoot. Oh, you paid money for this. Oh, I cannot take this. This is not professional. You paid me for my service and I have to give you. I hope you know you're just messing up and you're messing your brand up. Do you understand? So what is right is you should actually step back. 9 out of 10 times, they would find a way to talk and settle. Do you understand? Because it is in their best interest. I hope you know they even have their own best interest more than you have their best interest at heart. So now you should be able to step back and then let them just have their time. Let out the emotions that they want to let out. Talk about what they want to talk about. And then you can, if you see that it's not moving or nothing is happening, then you can now step in. How do you step in? First point is step back. Now, when we're saying step in, now we're not saying step right into talking. First of all, now we're going to talk about something. One of the key ways, or one of the key things that controls the emotions of a human being or any living thing at all is music. As abstract as it sounds, I hope you know that even flowers and trees respond to music. Do you know? Even the trees, I hope you know the trees, they dance. So that is why you will discover that, you will see that, like, if birds are singing, you will discover that sometimes the rhythm at which the trees move, they move to the rhythm of the bird singing. Do you understand? Creation was made, it just brings me back to what I always see, the beauty of creation, how beautiful creation is. Do you understand? Because even God himself, the one that said everything that we know and we see, if including us, to be, the one that made us and everything that we can see here, he responds to music. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Do you understand? You can quote like a number of scriptures that says that particular thing. So if the one that made us responds to music, and everything he made responds to music, including us, so what should be your first line of action when anybody steps in? Your music. And not just your music, your choice of music. Being emotionally intelligent is you reading a person to know what kind of music they would be interested in. I for one, I don't think that it is very professional for you to actually meet a client and ask them what kind of music they like. You being emotionally intelligent would have you thinking about it, and out of your conversation with the client, you will be able to decipher and you'll be able to know what kind of music they would want to listen to. Take for instance, if somebody walks in now and then I started talking to the person and then the person is like, oh yeah, I run a business. Oh, my name is Funke. I run a business and I do global stuff. I work with the UN. I work with UNESCO. I work with other organization. I work with World Bank and other stuff here. So, and yeah, and I just asked her, okay, like, but what interests you? And she just says, oh my God, I love fashion. Like, fashion interests me. In fact, like, I'll be like, okay, wow, I see it's like you look really good, because this fashion really speaks to your love for fashion. Like how you look now, it speaks to your love for fashion. And then maybe I just say something else and I'm just like, okay, yeah. Now, in my head, one thing that comes to my mind now is that if she loves fashion, that means she must really love any fashionable musician, or she must really love any music that talks about a woman looking good. Do you understand? So now, it will now bring me to the next question I'm going to ask her. Hi, Miss Funke. So you said you work with the trade bank. So how do you like balance all of this up and all with like your personal life? Are you a Christian or are you a Muslim, or like what religion do you practice? And if she says a Christian or a Muslim, the next thing they say, if they speak so much and so deeply about Christianity, then you should know that the song you should actually play should be in line with Christianity. If they speak so much and so deeply about their religion as their religion of Islam, you would know as to play something in line with that. And if they speak maybe lightly about religion, you would know that maybe they are just a free spirit. And then you can now play maybe a secular song, you can play something. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. So just by having a 2 to 3 minutes conversation, I've been able to know and understand the music choice of Mrs. Funke or Miss Funke. Do you understand my point? So instead of you actually going to, I hope you know there's nothing wrong with you going to meet her to ask her music choice. But then for most clients, when you ask them their music choice, they are usually confused because they don't know. I hope you know every single person has a particular type of music that they love, but they don't love only that type of music. They love a body or a genre of music. Do you understand? So now, or maybe even different genres of music. You cannot particularly say, okay, just because she said she loves Beyonce, throughout the whole shoot, I should play Beyonce. And also, how you can also determine the music choice of a person is by understand their age bracket. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you know and understand the age bracket of whoever you're working with, then you would know the time that they grew up. Everybody loves a good throwback. I hope you know that was what happened at the shoot yesterday. But the moment they started playing some songs that brought you back to your childhood, what happened? Like automatically, she just came back into it. Do you understand? She was there, she now started singing, the client was singing, everything was singing. That is emotional intelligence. Do you understand? So when you're shooting someone, you should actually try to maybe put an age bracket to the person and then play songs around the age bracket of that person. I hope you know, if you're shooting an 80-year-old and maybe you're playing a Davido song, they may not vibe so much to it. But if you're shooting an 80-year-old and she's from the Yoruba speaking part of Nigeria, and then you play maybe K1, or you play Fela, or you play King Sunny Ade, or you play just something that speaks to the culture of where they are from. Do you understand? So in just doing that alone, I hope you know that before you know it, they're already moving their body. And now is that you are programming them to shoot. So now when you want to shoot them now, automatically what it would have taken you to lose them, music already did that work for you. Do you understand? So that pep talk that you were meant to give to them, oh, you look so good, this one, music is already doing it for you. Does that mean you shouldn't compliment your clients? No, that's not what I'm saying. But the hard work is already being done by music. And what does it take? Only a very small music box. That's all it takes. As a photographer, as important as your camera, this one you should write. As important as your camera, you should have a music box. As important as your camera, it should be somewhere close to you. Almost everywhere I go to, there's always a JBL, there's always a speaker close to me that I can just quickly do anything. Because I always have it in mind that I have to program the emotion of wherever I am. I hope you know there's a certain music that changes the atmosphere. Yes, just like you go to some churches now, and then they will tell you, let's be in the mood of worship. Have reservations to that, because there's no mood of worship. Worship is a lifestyle. Do you understand? But then instead of telling them, let's be in the mood of worship, just lead them to the presence with music. It's not a door. It's not a door you enter, like you knock on the door, and then you enter the mood of worship. Do you understand? You usher people into the mode of worship. And how? Music. Do you understand my point? So that, like, everywhere through scriptures, you will discover that music was always used to control emotions. Remember King Saul that had the spirit of, I don't know, there was a spirit. There was a spirit Yes, an evil spirit that was tormenting him. And what was the only remedy? I hope you know he was the king, and he had access to all the magicians that could probably heal him. He had access to all the people who could make medicines for him that could heal him. So now in their time, he had access to all the best doctors that there was at that time, but none of them could make him calm. But what was the only thing that could make him calm? Music. Whenever that little boy David played the harp, it just made him calm. So remember, we already established that you can run a successful business, not just photography business, running by scriptures. So if you don't know Jesus or you don't know God, I would advise you to actually meet him and know him. Do you understand? So, and also use the Bible as a guide to business, because I feel like that is the greatest book. It's a business book, it's a book on relationship, it's a book on every single thing, on life, heartbreak. You'll find solace somewhere around Psalms. You find solace. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow, I will not be alone. For he walks me. So basically, it is very important for you to actually see music as a way to condition an atmosphere wherever you are, whatever you're doing, subconsciously. And also do it in a way that you are not obnoxious. Do you know what I mean? Also do it in a way that it's not too obvious that you're trying to program the atmosphere. I hope you know that whatever you do that makes it seem as though you are trying so hard to do that particular thing, I hope you know it takes away from that thing you're trying to do. Do you understand? So at that particular point where they are having that issue, the bride and the groom, now we're going back to our question. So at that point where they are having that particular issue, you don't want to be obnoxious. You don't want to just maybe start a song and start playing one Davido song. Do you understand? Or you start playing one P-Square song. You go chop my money. At that point, the groom does not want anybody to eat his money because he's not happy. I don't know whether you understand. So, but at that point now, if you now discover, or if you have read them and you understand their type of love, I hope you know some people have the Western kind of love. I hope you know that some people have the high school kind of love. I hope you know that some people have the traditional African kind of love. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when I say the high school kind of love now, I mean like people who you know that these people grew up from the 2000s till present. You will discover that those people have the high school kind of love. So now you discover that most of them listen to the Taylor Swifts, they listen to, give me someone else.
High School Musical.
Yes, they listen to High School Musicals, they listen to all of those like Justin Bieber, they listen to, what is it called now, Ed Sheeran, they listen to, do you understand, like those kind of love music, those are the kind of music that they listen to. And then there's another sect now that also listens to like maybe traditional African music. Take for instance, if your dad was to communicate emotions, your African dad, if your African dad was to communicate emotions to your mom, love emotions now, I mean, do you understand? The only way he knows how to communicate that emotion now is by playing the likes of, who sings? Style Plus, you understand? Who sings like maybe African Tubaba, Two-Face Idibia. Do you understand? Like for their generation, that was what they heard. In fact, there are more love songs that they heard in that time. In fact, if you even know their tribe, you will discover that maybe if you know where they are from, their native dialect, and then you're able to play songs in line with that. Take for instance, an Igbo man trying to confess love to his wife. I hope you know he would go for the best flavor. Flavor now being a Nigerian, indigenous artist. Do you understand? So now he will go and look for the best flavor to play, or you go and look for the likes of that Chief Osadebe, all those, or like those kind of songs. Those songs in their generation, that is what you should play. Do you understand? And then maybe if you're talking about millennials now, you're talking about like the Two Babas, you're talking about P-Square, you're talking about, and then that is for people who have the African kind of vibe. Do you understand? But then in that particular time now, there are people who only listen to Diana Ross. There are people who only listen to, who else? Give me a name. They listen to Who else? Now, Lionel Richie, listening to Celine Dion. Do you understand? Like people like that, like in that particular time, like in their time, those were the songs. Like, so you will hear the likes of Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson. Do you understand? Those were the kind of songs that they grew up listening to. So when you bring those memories back, in fact, even before you even go and approach the groom is already thinking about the time he told the bride about his favorite song growing up. So now you're solving the situation without getting involved inside. Do you understand? So now you stepped back, and now we said step back in, but not physically, mentally. So you are programming stuff. Do you understand? And now if you want to, like, maybe if it's now I don't know if we have any Gen Alpha now that is getting married. I don't think they are up to that. Do you understand? So if we now get to that part now, you now discover that the likes of Arya Star, Gen Z, at least we have Gen Z brides. Do you understand? Then you start playing the Arya Stars, the, what is it called now? The Thames. You start playing the, what is it called now? Who? I don't know. Give me a name. Yes. So all of those, do you understand? But then where you have to be intelligent is as to know the cultural and the religious background of the people, right? You have to be intelligent enough to know the cultural and the religious background of whoever you're trying to condition, or whoever is in the environment that you're trying to program or condition. Have we written that? Or we're still writing? Are we good? What are you writing? This is what I said. Oh, you're writing another note. Alright, so yeah. So the reason why you actually have to pay attention to the cultural and the religious background of whoever you are working with, and or whoever is in the space where you are trying to use music to condition. Take for instance, if you had a devout Muslim in a place and then you were trying to play songs, best believe you have to go and look for the likes of Ali Jita, you have to go and look for northern music, you have to go and look for Arabian music to actually condition that. I hope you know there are very good Arabian songs, Arabian love songs. Do you understand? There are very good Arabian love songs that you can actually play, very good like songs from like the Arabs that you can actually use to condition that particular environment. And then if you now had a devout Christian that you wanted to play love songs for, I hope you know the first place you should start thinking to is first of all, you should even make a soft landing. You should start from the likes of the Hill songs. First start from the love of God. Because it's only the love of God that can break a stony heart. Do you understand? First start from the likes of the Hill songs, start from the likes of who else sings songs that is more like love songs. That is it. An endless ocean. Do you understand? So you start like playing songs from, you can even play songs from Timi Dakolo. Do you understand? You can play, there are certain songs that are morally correct.
Yes.
Do you understand? It's not talking about like stuff that is inappropriate. So in conditioning your atmosphere, please make sure to not play songs using music. In conditioning your atmosphere using music, please make sure to not play songs that are against the beliefs, whether cultural beliefs or religious beliefs of the person you're trying to work with. Do you understand? So now when you have like a general overseer of a church or a bishop of a church in your studio, or you're shooting a bishop of a church with his wife, or maybe a pastor is getting married, that is not the point where you start playing like maybe a Burna Boy song that talks about love, but then they are trying to, trust me, it's great songs, but not great for that moment. Do you understand? Not great for that moment. You have to read the room. Write this, read the room. Photographers, read the room. Whenever you step into a room, read the room. Do you understand? So don't fail to read the room. Does Burna Boy have great songs? Yes. Does Wizkid have great songs? Yes. But are there specific times when those songs should be played? Yes. Are they with specific people that those songs should be played? Yes. Do you understand? Now you don't go about now maybe playing like maybe a Mali music or a Jonathan McReynolds song, like maybe a Christian song. You're going to play a Christian song for a Muslim client. You're not achieving nothing. You're not achieving anything. You're not conditioning anything. Do you understand? But if you now walk in line with the beliefs of these people, you will discover that you achieve so much more. Do you understand my point? So it is very important for you as a photographer, as a business owner, always know the importance of music. Read the room. Do you understand? So now when you meet somebody that is a traditionalist, I'm sure you know, we mentioned that the world is a cocktail of humans. Do you understand? So now you're meeting both the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything. Do you understand? So now you're going to meet, that is not to say traditionalists are the ugly or the bad. To them, they are the good. Do you understand? Yes. But in whatever you do, find Jesus. That's my stance. Just in case you don't know my stance, in whatever you do, find Jesus. Yes. So basically, can we move forward? Yes. So the first point was in being emotionally intelligent as to dealing with a couple in crisis on their wedding day. What do you do? First, what's the first point? Step back. Second point.
Step in, but with music.
Step in
intelligently.
Step in intelligent, mentally. Yes, but with music. So the next point we're going to actually be talking about is by stepping in physically. The next point we're going to be talking about is in stepping in physically, and I think your answers spoke to that. Do you understand? You having to meet with the groom and then talk to the groom about like the situation at hand, because men are easier to reach out to in time of crisis. You understand? Women may need a little bit more time to process their emotions. Do you understand? So at that particular point in time, you don't actually want to meet with the bride and try to talk to the bride. Remember, you're not the star of the show. Remember, you're not the groom. Remember, you're not trying to paint the groom in a bad light. Remember, you're not trying to paint the groom in a bad light. You're just trying to just salvage the situation and do your job as best as you can and deliver premium value to your clients. Do you understand? So in stepping in physically now, in stepping in physically, what you should know and understand is that it is not a time for you to play good cop, bad cop. It is not a time for you to actually make anyone feel bad about their or pick sides. I hope you know there's an adage that says you don't get in between a couple or two people in love, because once they are done with their fights, they are going to revisit your issue. Do you understand? They're going to revisit you. So it is very important for you as a photographer, a businessman, whoever, like whatever you're doing in the creative industry, it is important for you to actually solve problems without picking any sides. So what does it mean by solving problems without picking any sides? First of all, what you need here, more than anything, you need a higher sense of intelligence. And when I say you need a higher sense of intelligence now, I'm speaking majorly to the workings of God in your mind. I hope you know that every situation like this is bespoke to the people that is happening to. Like, it's peculiar to the person it's happening to, because it might be you and your man that is having that issue. The way I will solve it with you and your guy is not the way I will solve it with Jesu for me and her guy. Why? Because they have a working dynamics of their own relationship that is way different from from your dynamics of like how your relationship works. Do you understand? So now this is when the Spirit of God in you, which for Christians now is the Holy Spirit, comes now to help you know what to say at a particular point. Now, I'm not saying that you should leave everything and just be okay. I'm waiting to hear from the Holy Spirit. I'm waiting to hear from the Spirit of God within me. Do you understand? These are stuff that you build before time. Do you understand? These are stuff that you actually just, you get it, like it should happen before. It's a programming that should happen beforehand. So now when you meet that particular situation, you're not going to the corner to start praying, oh Holy Spirit, show up for me. Now is the time. It's now, move. Do you understand? So now when you actually go to meet the groom, remember his emotions are also delicate at that point too. So you have to be wise. Now, not in the wisdom of men, but in the wisdom of God. And ask yourself, if God were to be here, how will God himself handle this situation? Do you understand? So now, in asking yourself that question now, you would now remove some things from it. If there was any blame game you were planning to go, I hope you know God does not blame. Do you understand? God does not blame. So, if there was any blame game that you were going to go and play there, that question alone would cut out that part. Do you understand? And then if you now walk up to the groom and then you meet the groom, you can actually talk to the groom and tell the groom that, okay, today is actually a special day for you. And just like you mentioned, today is not going to happen again. And by next week, you are not going to remember this conversation or these disagreements that you guys have. Please, we need to make this work. I understand that you are hurt. What are we doing? We are admitting their emotions, not discarding their emotions. A lot of photographers will just go and just say, yes, we have to do this. So what I feel, it doesn't matter, right? So that is what the clients would think to themselves. So actually what you should do is that you should actually find a way, be intelligent enough to talk about all the situation, but then still regarding their emotions and making them know that their emotions are valid. So when you meet the groom, make sure the groom knows that his emotions are valid. Don't go and say, all these women, that's how women used to be. Women, let's just shoot though. Women, in fact, you are trusting Eve that went to collect apple. I don't know whether you understand my point. So like that, you're not intelligent. You're not being intelligent. Or then maybe if you now do another thing, you now go and meet him, like you now say, sir, you said you did not try. You said you did not try. Why now? Look at it now. Look at it from this point now. Look at the bride. Even though you know the groom was wrong, at that point in time, that is not the time to play the blame game. Do you understand? In fact, if there was anyone that for you to blame yourself. Do you understand my point? If there was anybody that had to take that blame at that point, blame yourself. So take for instance now, you can just meet the groom and just say, oh my God, I understand how you feel and everything. And yeah, it's just the rush of the wedding that is just bringing about these heightened emotions at this point. And you can understand that you're willing to give them some minutes, but you guys will still have to do the pictures, but you clearly understand how he feels and everything. And please, he should not take too much to heart what the bride said. And she actually did not mean it. It's just the rush. Who are you blaming now for what happened? You are blaming the rush, the environment. You are blaming the system of everything, but you're not blaming either the people. Do you understand? You can even go as far as blaming yourself. Don't do that all the time, because some people might misunderstand that. Do you understand? You can even go as far as saying, oh, I can understand the pressure that photography brings. Like, I can understand the pressure that being in front of the camera brings. You understand? So you would actually want, like, if you actually want some time to cool off, like, I can give you some of that time to actually cool off and just get to think about everything you want to think about. I think that is a wise way to go about it. Do you understand? So another way again for you to go about it is for you to actually, when you meet the groom, is for you to actually talk in favor of both sides. Do you understand? You talk and you validate the feeling of the groom and what he's going through and apologize to him. Did you wrong him? No. Are you apologizing? Yes. Who are you apologizing on behalf? You're apologizing on behalf of everybody that offended anybody. Do you understand? Maybe the mom, somebody offended somebody. You are just apologizing and you are just putting the blame on what cannot speak. At least the pressure of the wedding cannot speak to you. Right? Do you understand my point? Yes. So now when you're done doing that, you can also still validate the feelings of the bride, and you just say, yes, you understand how these things can be. She's been up since morning, like it's been a long, in fact, she had a bachelorette party a day before, and they were done with the party by 12 a.m. She was only able to get like 3 hours of sleep. By 3 a.m. she was already up, and then by that 3 a.m. that she was up till 6 a.m. this morning when you guys had that conversation. So you should know that she's quite tired and she's pissed and all with everything. In fact, her makeup artist came late. Her hairstylist was like not being very gentle with her. Do you understand? So there are other things. I'm not saying for you to go and blame the makeup artist now. Do you understand? Like, you can just make instances of this stuff that could be the result of, do you understand, of the bride not being happy and speaking to the groom in a way that he was not also happy. Do you understand? So now you're being the person that takes no sides, and you just want everything to just happen well. Do you understand? So that is how you solve it. Do you understand? So now the first point was step back. Second point was step in mentally. The third point now is step in physically. And then the last point, very important point, very important point, know when to stop. Write it. Know when to stop. Remember we said step out or step back, step in mentally through music, and then the third point was step in physically, and the fourth point, probably the most important point, know when to stop. I hope you know. Some people don't know when they are not wanted in a conversation. Some people don't know. Do you understand? And some people don't know when to stop. I hope you know that however good you are, or however great your motive is towards them and wanting them to have very good pictures and videos as a photographer and a videographer now, in the sense of a wedding now, as we have in this particular question, I hope you know that whatever you do, or however great your motives are, if they are not willing to come out of that, please know when to stop. If you have tried once, twice, you've been able to just talk to them and you've been able to tell them that, okay, we have to work this out. Something has to make sense. Do you understand? We have to get the good pictures. We have to do something. Do you understand? In doing that, if you are not, like, if they're not getting, or if they're not taking any of that to heart, or if they're not understanding what you mean, please know when to stop. Know when to just draw the line. And to be honest, not every couple is going to get great pictures at their wedding, and it's not a curse. It's just how life works. Do you understand? Because we are dealing with people from different walks of life. Do you understand? In fact, there are certain people that once they get pissed, no one can pacify them, including the person that they want to. Is it right? No. But is it something that happens? Yes. In fact, you will discover that you will hear some things and it will surprise you. You will discover that some people will even go as far as saying that, oh no, me, when I'm angry like this, it takes me like 1 week for me to be okay. Yes. Have you not heard it? Some people even go as far as saying that me, when I'm angry, is only God in heaven can. Nobody, even my father and my mother, even my father and my mother, no, only God. Now, are you God? So if you are not God, what should you do? Nothing. Just stay and let the day pass and take your pay, because you actually worked. Do you understand? In fact, you were working the whole time, even when you were conditioning the atmosphere. You were working. You were actively working. That is why you should have a policy on your contract that actually states that whether or not you have these pictures, you're actually going to pay me because I was available to shoot you, but then you were not ready to be shot. Do you understand my point? So it is very important for you. This last point is kind of like the most important point out of all 4 points. Know when to stop. Know when to step out. And when I say know when to step out, I mean know when to back off and just say, okay, like, let's chill. Whatever happens, and it's fine. I hope you know that doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you someone that is emotionally intelligent. In fact, some photographers have gone as far as getting a bad review, or even like getting a bad name from wanting to pry into the conversation more. Do you understand? You tried your best to follow all of these steps, and then it wasn't working, and then you kept on pressing. In fact, the bride and the groom looked at you and they were like, can't you just step back? Like, can't you step back? Like, must you be in our business? So it doesn't have to get to that particular point before you know to step back as a photographer or as a business person, whoever you are, a creative, whatever you do. Do you understand? You actually have to know when to stop. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Were we able to answer the question?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So basically, that is emotional intelligence. If you are intelligent emotionally, these things will come to you. Do you understand? And it is very important. Something I would buttress more on is that every situation is bespoke. It is peculiar to the people. So that is why it is not a formula. That is why this emotional intelligence is not a peculiar situation. Like, it is not a general situation. It is something that is peculiar to people, a group of people, a person, a couple. Do you understand? It's not one fits all. Do you understand? So also, with the help of God and with the help of the spirit of wisdom from God, you'll be able to handle even harder emotions. Take for instance, if you now encounter a situation where on a wedding day, the ex-girlfriend of a groom comes and then maybe she's pissed about the wedding happening and she says something to the bride that is offensive, and then the bride in turn now channels her emotions to the groom and slaps the groom. In that situation, what will you do? I hope you know that it is the Spirit of God that can guide you in that particular, because you were paid for a job nonetheless, and you have to do your job. Do you understand? So what would you do? So now in that particular point, you have to call on Jehovah to actually guide you, because if you don't have the guidance you need, you might be the one that ends up receiving the last slap. Because at that particular point, you actually, all this four stuff now, what we did not even list, you have to apply it. I don't know whether you understand. At that point, music will not work again. The time when music would have worked has passed. Do you understand? You have to apply something deeper. So it is very important for you, and also in the studying of people. So when you now, like, sometimes just paint these scenarios in your head and just ask yourself, how will I handle it? How will I handle it? Do you understand? Put yourself in the place of the bride. Put yourself in the place of the groom. How will I handle it? What will I do? If I were the bride, what would they say to me? That is the question you should ask yourself. Put yourself in the shoe of whoever it is. Do you understand? Ask yourself, if I were the bride, if I were the groom, what would be said to me at that particular point that will pacify me? Or will I just want everybody to just back off my case? If that is your answer, then you know to back off. If your answer is, okay, say this to the person, if they said this to me, do you understand? After considering it very well, and then staying back for a while, a long while, remember a slap happened not so long ago. Do you understand? A slap happened not so long ago. So you should actually know, and wisdom should be actually profitable to direct you to stay back. And consider your actions and your next few words. Because if your next few words are not very delicate, in fact, as Nigerians will say, you will collect. Or some people will say, our brethren from the worry kingdom will say, they will forget hand on your face. So yeah, basically that is emotional intelligence. Yeah. So you actually have to be emotionally intelligent. You have to know when to step in, step back, step in mentally. You have to know when to stop. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Did we get anything today?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining our class today. And if you would like to register for our mentorship program, there's a link in the description below. So hit that link and register to be a part of our next cohort. And yes, to get this video out to more people, if this video has been a blessing to you, so just click on the like button and also subscribe to this channel so you get a notification whenever we drop our next video. Thank you so much for staying to the end, and see you in the next one.